y'all. Welcome to another episode. I just wanted to tell you that, did you know that you can join us live each week? All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter at rechargingyou.com. It's right under the hero image. Sign up, be part of the list, join us live. And did you know that we are supported by people like you, patrons? If you want extra content delivered to you or to patrons only, you can join and sign up at patreon.com/Diane Gibbs. And on with the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Design Recharge. This is episode 316, and today is jam-packed. I already apologized to Brian because I haven't gotten to redo Little Bird Communications yet, and that's the one he did the audit on. And hopefully you guys got to see this, because to me, this was so critical. And when I built Recharging You, I totally put these things into place, but I still have questions. And Brian has the biggest heart, and I love it because he tells it like it is. I don't need a lot of fluff. Anyway, so I'm really excited for you guys to meet my friend Brian Harper. And so Brian, you started out as a designer, and then you
actually I started out in architecture.
Okay, even more anal. Started out in architecture and then went to design. And then you've been in kind of the industry of SEO since its inception. It was called something else, right?
Well, it was just optimization. It was very simple. And you were talking like 1999, and everybody was using tools you were gaming the system. There wasn't, a clear roadmap, or there wasn't a clear schema. You were just playing games with the search engines, and back then, Google wasn't a thing. Google wasn't a thing. It was Yahoo and whatever, Ask Jeeves, and
I remember that one,
and Alta Vista and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it was just all these goofy, now dead search engines. Well, I think Ask Jeeves Ask.com is still popular in Europe. I'm not sure.
All right. But well, yeah. Maybe Fred can tell us from Belgium.
There you go.
You can let us know. All right. So you call yourself a SEO consultant, right? I was like, well, what do you call yourself?
Yeah, I do a lot of different stuff. That's one of the things I do. But yeah, it's one of the things I've done in longevity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and you work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have clients all over. Can you give us a little bit of your background story and what made you start getting interested in SEO way back?
Well, it was, we were doing web design, and, since I guess it was 96, this is it's reversed, but it's,
no, it's not reversed. We see it correctly.
Creating killer websites, which was David Siegel's book. And it was a way to use tables. We used tables to design. But he found out a way to use a transparent GIF to move stuff around in Internet Explorer. And so all we had was that, and then Netscape came along and fixed some things. But we were designing in tables and we were doing slices. Back in the day, Photoshop, you did slices, and you put slices into boxes of the table, and you did your spans and stuff like that to get it to work. Well, that was all well and good, but we wanted to try to, everybody started out the same place. We were keyword stuffing, we were masking text, because there were no rules. It was the Wild West.
So I'm just telling you, my mom's here, so we're going to keep it G-rated for her. Of course, she probably thinks keyword stuffing is a bad word. I don't know.
No, it's not. Keyword stuffing.
Can you tell us what some of those things, those terms you just said, what is that?
Masking would be if you put keywords that you wanted to rank for or wanted to get traffic for, you would put them in the body, you would put them in the background of your website and make them white. If the background of your website was white, you would mask those words by making them white. So only if you took your mouse and scanned down through the background of the site would you see them. But they were there, and it was a way to gamify getting, traffic to your website.
Because it was content that the search engines were thinking was content on your page, but it really wasn't.
Right. And stuffing is just basically you take a keyword, and back in the day you could make this work where it would be like, Diane is the best designer in Mobile, and Mobile loves her. And if you ever visit Mobile, go, see her. And if you ever eat dinner in Mobile, go and, check out that, it was just, and that's stuffing, you're overdoing it, and it's not natural language. But back then it was fine.
Right.
And actually got you lift.
Okay, so and this has changed. How you
Oh,
get lift
yes.
changes all the time. So this is one of the reasons. So Brian and I had this conversation, and then we just got to be good friends because we could talk about lots of things. He has lots of interests. He's super smart. He's just a great guy. So, but one of the things I wanted to ask you is, how, because you've been a part of the industry for so long, what are some of the shifts you've seen, and how has, like, you also said keyword density. So is keyword density like using Mobile multiple times?
Well, it's, when I was talking about that, it was in reference to a lot of people like if you're in WordPress, a lot of people like the Yoast tool. And the problem with the Yoast tool is the usage behind it was, one of the things they used to use a lot and still do is keyword density for the rating of whether they give you a green light, orange light, or red light. And that's been depreciated for, hope that's the right word, um, for 3 years to 5 years, whatever, whoever you talk to. But, so it's not, I'd rather see people write to context and relevancy for the people they want to reach out to, versus, a machine language type of thing where I got the green light, I'm good to go, where you're satisfying a criteria that's no longer completely valid.
Right.
So, write and do content for people. Don't do it for a machine.
Hmm. That's great. So there are some tools we can use, and that's not a
Yes.
bad tool. It's just you have
No.
to know what's out of date,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Fred
Okay.
just said that ask.com is dead in Europe. So
Okay.
it's
All right.
official.
So one of the questions I wanted to just get from the beginning, and Mom, this one might not be the best show for you today. She doesn't feel good either. People, let's pray for my mom today. She doesn't like goldenrod. Goldenrod doesn't like my mom. Allergies, I guess.
I
Okay.
got
So the difference between paid advertising, or right, paying for getting Google rankings or whatever, and then organic SEO.
Okay. Well, paid is the short game. And if there's a lot of people that can play both paid and search, organic. But paid is, once if you don't have another campaign stacked behind it, it drops off when your campaign ends. If you choose to end your campaign, but it escalates you, it gives you a lot of lift because you're in front of a lot more people. As long as now there's criteria to that, right? There's quality score and things like that, that, we can get into in a deep dive. But the bird's eye view of this is that you're going to try, your content is going to get you organic lift. Okay.
Right.
So what organic SEO gets you is you're looking at, 6 months. Some people, depending on content, a year. Okay. But you get longevity out of it, right? That's where your evergreen content can live, right? And then there's content on two different sides. There's blogging, and then there's the site content, which is more marketing speak.
All right. So let's get into this. So if somebody needs lift quick, paying for some Google AdWords, is that a good use of some money?
It really depends on your budget,
Okay.
right? Because if you have a good budget, is what we type out a good budget is like, $1,300 a month,
But
because you
what kind of company would be able to spend like $1,300 a month on
like
something?
a mid-sized company, like,
How much are they
more
making a
like,
year?
that would be a good question, because they don't always tell you.
Okay. Sorry,
Um,
I should have put these questions in the thing, right?
yeah, but
Sorry.
no, I like organic questions. Um, the biggest thing is you're going to pay somebody, probably 350 to 500 on that budget to get you where you want to be. And you have considerably more leeway with that budget, because you can, a strategy, just to put this out there, a strategy for that budget is that you can run 2 weeks of broad match keywords and get more keyword ideas. Whereas if you have a $300 budget, you have to use exact match keywords. You're not going to get as much feedback in keyword ideas. So you have to do your keyword research much better in like SEM Rush and the Google Ads keyword planner. And the problem now is that you have to supply a funding source to do Google Ads before you can even use the keyword planner. Keyword planner used to be free, but it used to be terrible. But now it's good, but it's not. Technically it is free. You just have to put a funding source in and start a campaign, but you have to make sure you don't launch the campaign. It can be just any old campaign. You're not going to run it. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to run it.
So I'm going real basic
Okay.
because sometimes I get confused. So
Okay.
I'm thinking keywords. You're talking about words that I would type into Google to find a dentist. Okay, let's just
No,
not
no,
that.
no,
Okay, see, I don't
no.
know.
There's a difference between keywords and search terms,
Oh,
right?
tell me.
Okay. So search terms are what people type in, and you want them to closely be relevant to your keywords, right?
But
Okay.
what's a keyword then?
A keyword is what you want them to find you for, not what
Oh,
they're searching for, because they don't necessarily know what they're searching for. It goes back to the funnels thing, where when people say awareness, some people mean brand awareness, some people mean problem awareness. The old timey scheme of a funnel was, are they aware they have a problem? Are they solution aware? Things like that. So it's a thing where, that's the difference between search terms and keywords. You have to try to marry them together. There are baby boomers that type paragraphs into the Google search engine box.
that's how I find people who plagiarize. I just copy some of their thing and
Right.
I'm like, I don't think that kid wrote that. And then I just type it into Google and then I'm like, that's somebody, they didn't write that. Somebody else wrote that. Anyway, so baby boomers.
I'm sorry. Fred is asking if you can interrupt with questions.
Yes, I
I
said.
see.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, there it is. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
There's
Back
some.
on track.
Okay,
Look,
so
something shiny.
hey, that's okay. I took my medicine today, so maybe I'll be
There you go.
focused.
Can you
Okay,
send me some?
I don't think so. I think that's illegal. So Brian, so you're trying to marry search terms and then what I want to be known for. So let's talk about, so if I'm solving a problem, it's not really my brand, Little Bird Communications, is going to get out there. What I'm really trying to solve a problem is to help people build clearer websites that help get whatever people
Right.
their message across, right?
Okay.
So that's really a problem, right? I'm solving.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, instead of like trying to be, Little Bird Communication. Have you heard of Little Bird? They make
Right.
great soda or
Well, that's
something, right?
more, that's more brand oriented. And, you do that in display ads, and don't expect the ROI on that is in brand equity, right? It's
So
not in
tell my
money.
mom what ROI is.
Return on investment.
Okay, we'll be using that term ROI from now on, just in
Yes.
case anybody didn't know that. Okay, so hey, some people don't,
That's
like I
right.
would hate for people
Hey,
to be like, I didn't know anything
we
there.
can get very granular here.
Okay, so we're marrying search terms, what my mom might be typing in, and then what I want to be known for. So how would me as a web designer try to do that?
Well, you would utilize free tools. There's free tools and then there's freemium tools that have a free version or a limited use over time version. Like SEMrush has like a limited usage per day or week.
Right.
And then you have to go back and do it later if you didn't get everything done. But, Uber Suggest is great. Neil Patel's thing, because you can go in and you can do a lot of things with that tool. You can match up, you can find content for SEO there, and you can also find it also helps you find your audience based on the search terms that you use. So, it's not easy. If it were easy, anybody could do it, right?
Right.
You got to put the time in, and that's really what I try to do, is help people with that. Because if you're a single person, if you're a solopreneur or whatever you want to call it, how much time do you have in a day? You have client work to do, right? So
Yes.
that you got to pay bills, and that's, some people don't necessarily understand that, so yeah, it becomes this thing where it's when I get to it, because it's only you or you
Right.
and somebody else, like maybe of an admin or something. And, um, so yeah, it gets a little cumbersome. But I really didn't kind of have anything prepared for this, but there are, with between like 2 or 3 tools, you can find about 600 to 1200 keywords in about 5 minutes. Okay. If you know what you're doing, you know what audience you're going after, but the other side of it is that even the audience you're going after, we've seen in analytics that there's been a subset or another, demographic that's stronger. So you never know what you're going to get necessarily, because it's the web,
Right. So we got 2 questions from the audience. I'm going to ask Jason's first because it's kind of with these keywords. So how do we make sure our keywords are optimized to be relevant to search terms? Like what are some steps somebody would take to do that?
Well, I would say that one thing that you can do, and it's a little tedious, and there are some tools that can do it. But if you have a search term, you put the search term in the search engine, Google Live, the live search engine, and you type an A after it, and that will automatically populate what somebody this is live data. This is the last thing that somebody searched with an A after it. So it's not aggregate data like some of the other tools. It's live data. So if you type a B after your search term, like a couple weeks ago, I was helping, Bob. I was helping Bob with apathy and stuff. So you would do design apathy and an A, and it would autofill, it would backfill what came after A and what came after B. And, you go down through that, alpha through, Zulu, and you can write down, or like I said, there's tools like Uber Suggest and some other, Ask the People is really good as well. But that's the way you can kind of get some ideas for content, or get some ideas on who to attract, and what the trending, even Google Trends to some degree is aggregate data. Okay.
What's aggregate data?
It's not live data. It's average data.
Okay.
It's data that's been averaged out to in a certain amount of time.
Okay, so you said Google Ask is another. I've never even heard of that one.
No, it's not. It's Google Trends.
Google Trends. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I can't even write it down. You're talking too fast.
Sorry.
Okay. No, you're not really talking fast. It's a lot of information. I'm trying to get everything down. Okay, so then we're going to go to Fred's, and then we're going to go back to content, because I think that's kind of where I wanted to go next. And anyway, So Fred asked, what's the difference between using Wix, Webflow, and WordPress regarding SEO? Are there limitations within these platforms? We'll ask that part right now. He said everybody's been using Webflow more lately, but I'm liking Wix. It's basic. I think they're customized, whatever.
Wix is, if you know code, Wix isn't bad, but it's still not fantastic. There are people that are doing, technical SEO great, but it doesn't reflect in the results pages. I used to be a big part of the Webflow forums a couple of years ago, and you would tell people what to do with SEO, and they would ask you, but they didn't want to hear the answer. That's what it was like.
Because it's too much work?
It was too much work, or, I'm very straightforward. So if something's non-functional, right, like I said, relevance and context, if something's not functional, if you make something back in the day, in the 90s, we used to call it dancing baloney. If you put, like, it was the sparkly GIFs, animated GIFs and stuff. And if you put dancing baloney on a site and it actually shields your content from the person trying to get to it, it's not very good. So, but Webflow has come a long way. They've taken their hits along the way, but initially when they started implementing Google Analytics and stuff like that, and the SEO piece, it didn't really go well. But I've heard that I have a friend that works for them. She lives in Portugal and she works for them. She was part of the forums.
Andre's in Portugal. He's here.
Oh, hey, Andre.
Okay, keep going.
But a lot of their people that were users have now become part of the company. So it's kind of a weird dynamic there now, but in a way it's good because they saw the problems and then they became part of the company. So now they're solving the problems from the inside out. And the SEO piece is one of them. I still think that regardless of what platform you're on, you still have to follow, for lack of a better term, best practices. I'm not a huge fan of that term, but that's what you gotta, and as long as you follow those and, really it goes over into content after that. But, the video that I made for you is the low hanging fruit technical SEO. And I think I spelled out, the reasons that we want to see H1 tags and H2 tags and stuff like that. But I'm not going to say necessarily that one platform is strong over another. What I'm going to say is make your, strengthen your game and, learn SEO and do it right, and I don't think you're going to have any problems. But Wix is still a little wonky.
Okay. All right. So we understand paid. Organic would be, it's going to be a long game, right? You're not going to get maybe a new client next week if you're starting a blog. So this is very frustrating for people who maybe have more time and not as much money because they need to see the result. But really, it's a long game for all of this, right? So you're creating content, and that means blog posts or video. So we're going to get into some of that.
Well, the perfect storm is running organic side by side with Google Ads, right? Okay. Because you're getting the best of both worlds. And then eventually maybe you can trail off or channel your ad spend into something else. Okay. Right? Okay.
So is it important if I want to have, and this is another side question I didn't put on the sheet. If it's important that I want to do work I'm just going to do it for Mario. So if Mario wants to do work in Hawaii, is it really important that he has Hawaii a lot in his site?
Well, it's kind of the first tier of what I talk about account setups. The first tier of that is go to Google My Business and put your information in. Okay. because that's one of the, anchors of local SEO,
So we
right?
all should be doing that no matter
Yeah.
what. We should
Yeah.
all go to Google
Because
My
then
Business.
what that benefits you in, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, good. Keep going.
What that benefits is if you go into Google Ads, once you do that, it gives you a location uh, add-in for your ads once you do that. But if you don't do that, you don't see the location, you don't get the benefit of doing location oriented ads.
Okay.
And most people don't know that. And why would you? How would you put that together? Why would you have that expectation? So it's, it's kind of like what I was saying about the funding source to get into, the keyword planner and stuff like that. One, it's Google, and, you have to kowtow to the Google gods.
Yeah. All right. So Doc has a question. Doc's in North Carolina. He said, I'd heard about putting search words in and key terms in image descriptions. That helps. Is that true? Like
Yes.
pizza bird Redicus North Carolina illustrator.png. Like that's not a description. That's the name though, buddy.
That's the name of the file. Yeah, you can do it both ways.
Okay.
You can do it in, like in WordPress, you have a description box. Okay, but you can do it in the alt tag, or you can do it in the naming. The naming, anything you can do to put information out there. You will not get penalized for naming that, for naming that PNG file that way. You will not take a hit for that. That's just smart.
How would you take a hit?
You only usually take hits on like duplicate content, and even then it's very difficult now to be hit. Like if you publish like something similar on a different website, or the same piece from your website, it shows up on another website. But even then, Google's smart enough now. Back in the day, you would get immediately penalized, but now Google's smart enough now that they don't do that.
That's the term for this time. If we were drinking and this was a drinking game, we would be like, every time Brian says back in the day, right? Don't spit your water out. I'm just playing. It's just being funny. But I love that. I just love you, so it's hopefully. Okay, yep. So duplicate content. I'm just trying to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so duplicate content. Let's dig into that. So say I've written an article. You've already told me how to fix this, so I want you to tell them. So I've written an article and I put it on my website. And then, or maybe I don't have a lot of traffic on my website, so nobody's coming to my website to see it. So maybe I write it on Medium, and then maybe what would I do? I wouldn't want to have the same content on Medium. And you told me what I should do. Can you tell them? Do you remember?
You could do it in two parts, right? And have it feedback, because SEO, a large part of SEO is links. Okay, links is what gets you authority. Okay, so.
What do you mean? Sorry. I'm sorry to break it down.
You're fine. No, you're fine. Authority is establishing page rank and site rank, and what those numbers look like. If you get to 10, put it this way, like YouTube, Google, Amazon have 100. So that's the daunting piece of this. So if you have 10 and you want to get to 20 in page rank or site rank, it's the time it took you, like you might start at 10, the time it takes you to get from 10 to 20 is going to be exponentially longer. It's going to take you like 4 times longer. And then from 10 to 20, think about going from a bicycle to a car, that analogy. So what's going to happen is that might take 9 times more. It's not a even regimented thing. It is what it is. Okay. So, and authority is established through quality links back to your website.
So that means if I had something that was going to Creative South, and maybe Creative South ranks higher. So then they pointed something to me. So say I was a sponsor and they pointed to me, then that would be, because I was paying for my sponsorship, that would be a good link, because that would be like, hey, it's
a quality site,
right?
It's a reputable quality site. And I was talking in this morning during the pro call about that. you know, if you can get 5 to 7 quality links a month, you're hitting home runs. Okay. I mean, obviously get as many as you can, but if you can get 5 good quality links from outreach, from just outreach, you know, but if you know, that's the benefit of what I always, you know, I'm always an evangelist for blogging with other people, because now you can cross pollinate between everybody's website.
Okay.
And so that goes back to the Quora and the Medium thing, where you rate part 2 or part 1 on those platforms. So they have to go to your site to get part 2.
Because
Right.
the Medium or the Quora is going to be a more reputable site, or and it's going to have more traction because,
Right.
okay.
Well, it's an influencer site, right? It's not one person. It's a reputable site. Okay. And they have more authority than you do. Okay. So, well, back in the day, we used to, again, drink, everybody drink. We used to, you know, we used to call it barnacle marketing, where a barnacle attaches to a boat and goes where the boat goes. Or, you know, there's fish that stick on the side of sharks and stuff and eat the scraps.
Right.
You know, but is that, you know, the idea is that the barnacle goes where the boat goes. So if the boat lifts and gets amplification, you do too. You benefit from that. Okay. So you're borrowing a certain percentage of their authority to bolster yours. And that's an old timey schema I didn't use back in the day.
I know.
But you know, it works, you know, and that's just it. If there's one takeaway today, if you are not building relationships, you're doing it wrong. That's my opinion, but it, you know, I think it's shared pretty well.
Okay, so if I wasn't building content and I was just having a conversation with you, and then I said, "Hey, do you want to write a blog post?" and I would put it on my site, or we do something like that together, or we have a group of people that do this, then what you're saying is that now all of us put it on maybe the longer link thing on our site, right? Or the part 2.
Well, it's a thing where you can you could anchor it on Quora, or you could, you know, there's a lot of different things that
Meaning
we've
putting
tried.
it first, right?
Right.
Anchoring means that's where
Right.
it lives first. Okay.
Yeah, that's where it lives. And then put, you know, the old timey blog post, single person blog post is no good, because your mom and your uncle and your third cousin are reading that.
Right.
And who else? So you get a collective. You don't need, at the risk of torquing off some people, you don't need influencers anymore. Right. You just need like-minded people who want to have a conversation. Okay. We don't want to have a conversation of value in private. Okay. So let's put it out there for other people to consume. It can be designers. It could be me and you and a brand expert, a marketing expert from the traditional side of marketing, you know, 5 people, little bios throughout the blog post or the video or whatever that is. Infographics to support what we're talking about, you know, things like that. Video is huge, obviously. Video is huge.
All right. So Fred asked a question earlier, and I'm getting to him, Fred. I think these are great questions. Good job, buddy. Is it true having a video on your homepage helps SEO?
It can. I would say that you want to, again, it goes to intent of the person that's coming to the site. You'll see a lot of that more so on a landing page. But if you're explaining your process, I would say this is why we split up service pages. We don't make one big service page. Don't do that. Make several service pages, call them out by name. And what we want to do is make an explainer video, like a 3-minute explainer video for each one of those. What is that? What does it mean? What do you do? Describe part of your process and, you know, create some interest there. Okay. And, you know, then you can, again, go into analytics and see what kind of engagement you're getting on the video. Okay. And if it's not engaging, you change it. Right. but it has to speak to the people that are coming to the site.
All right. So I'm trying to reach design entrepreneurs or designers who have a side gig, a side hustle, or they're full-time. That's all they do. They're solopreneurs or they're scaling their business.
Mm-hmm.
If I started writing about, I don't know, mowers, this would not be the right. You have to
No.
it's better if I keep my content niched down,
Well,
right?
it's really where you are in the business thing, right? Because we've had this conversation in a couple other groups that you and I share membership in. When you're hungry, when you're eating ramen noodles, you don't necessarily have the privilege of you're welcome, Brian. You don't really have the privilege of taking specific jobs.
Right.
You got to take what you can get because you got bills to pay. And that's why certain people at a certain level may have forgotten what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I remember it vividly. Okay. And yeah, because you can't have enough work. And whatever the work is, as long as you have an idea, it's like a friend of mine talks about in-time learning, right?
What's that mean?
In-time learning is you learn it because you need to. You have a project, you want to, just in time learning. Matt, his name's Matt Hazard, great guy. Mm-hmm. And he talks about, learning for longevity or learning just in case. He calls it just in case learning. And that is kind of lackadaisical because you don't know when you're going to use it.
Right.
Just in case this comes up, I'm going to get this training, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn this, however that looks like. But just in time learning is I need this yesterday. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and the reason that it sticks with you is because you need to learn it.
Right.
You don't have an option. And when you learn something, I've always found it's much easier to learn something if you immediately start teaching it.
Right. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you about Timely. Timely is the app that I use on my computer, or I can use on my phone to track my time for each client, for each project, so then I know I'm not going over. But what I love the most is that there is the stalker option, or they call it the memory option. I actually prefer stalker option because I don't know why, because I think it's funnier. But the memory option remembers what I've been doing. It remembers what project I was working on and the name of it. And it remembers who I've been emailing, or it remembers what I have had open and literally been working on at that time. And I love that. So if you can't remember or you forgot to log your hours, you can go back for forever and see what your time tracker was. So Timely remembers for me so that I don't have to. When you sign up for Timely via this link, you will receive a 10% discount once you activate your subscription. And you actually are able to try Timely for 14 days before activating your subscription. It is paid to make sure that Timely is the right fit for you. It was for me. My friend Karina told me about it, and I love it. So the link is bit.ly/Dr. Timely, like Dr. Timely, but all lowercase. You can find the link in the down below. So I have a question. So if we're designers, I'm thinking of a D in here, D and John are in here, D and John Ingalls, and they have a design firm and they do all kinds of things. But so if they are doing packaging, then they probably need to talk about packaging. Or if they're doing app design, I know they do app design too. So they should have content that covers that so that the people who would be trying to learn or doing those things could use them as a resource, right? You're trying to talk to those. She's not necessarily trying to talk to other designers because other designers aren't her audience unless
Right.
She's trying to get work from maybe an agency.
Right. But there's a lot to unpack there. If you're blogging, you could use a consensus. You're looking for common ground. You work off that thing Bob does with empathy. and you could put a post up, a blog post about what the worst clients ever had looked like. Don't be these people, things like that. But for packaging, you could niche down into, if you wanted to, you could niche down into the type of packaging you do. We only do hair care products, right? So that becomes the long tail keyword of stuff like that, right? Where you're beyond the bird's eye view. Now you're getting into the granular part of it, where you want some specific wins on different keywords or phrases. And that's really what keywords means. When we say keywords these days, we mean phrases. We don't mean like one keyword, because it's like the chances of you ranking for cell phone,
right?
That's dead. You're not going to get that, right? Or iPhone, you're not going to get that. So you give it context and relevancy to the people that are searching for it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Well, you're covering a lot of information that are all things that I can use. So I think that there's something in everything. So I want to just cover, this question is from Doc again. And we kind of have covered it, but I don't really feel totally. So would duplicate content be like copy paste similar content for product descriptions? Is that going to, or do we really need to spend time making new product descriptions?
No. The biggest thing, and this is kind of differentiated, in your meta descriptions, you want to have different content, but in products, okay, just as a contrast, in products, you can call it the color. You could call it the color of the product, and if it's the same product but a different color, you don't have to worry about that, because first of all, it's going to be in a storefront, whatever, WooCommerce or whatever that looks like. Machine learning and the AI of Google, you're way outside being penalized for that.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay. So I just want to make sure. I feel so stupid sometimes, but I know you think I'm okay smart. So I feel like I can ask you these questions. And I feel like this is a place where hopefully you guys feel like you can ask questions. So meta descriptions.
Yeah, this is a safe space. I just want to say it's a safe space, because there's no wrong questions. So, no matter what it is, let's get it out in the open and try to put it down.
I just want to make sure I know. So if what I think is meta descriptions might not really be meta descriptions. So can you tell me where that is? There are meta descriptions for a page, but there's also meta descriptions for an image, right?
Well, there's a description for a page, for an image in WordPress, and there's alt text for an image in HTML, and they're different things. Okay. Because you're talking about a platform versus organic HTML, right? So yeah, meta descriptions are in every HTML page. Okay. And the way I would like people to approach it is write your meta descriptions that include, if you can, your branding, and write it like you would a Google Ads ad, because it shows up in the SERPs. So
what's a SERP?
Search engine result page.
Okay.
That's the SERPs. That's slang.
Yeah, I'm getting all your slang out. Back in the day, people, just in case you hadn't had enough water.
So, yeah. But every page has a meta description, whether it be on a platform or whether it be organic HTML or,
so you're trying to write something that would sell that page. So when they saw it, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is for me. This is what I want.
It's definitely marketing speak. Okay. It's not, necessarily, that's the difference. That's the two sides of the content, right? The website is your marketing speak, right? And your blog is you, live without a net, maybe without a filter, whatever, and that's where you shine, is who you are. You got a freak flag, fly it, but just whatever that is. Okay. But a lot of people treat content funnels as one-sided, and there's really two, quite possibly three.
What would they be? And then we're going to get to Amber's
Well,
question.
it's blog, and then your actual website content, which is messaging, to what
It's
you
more
do.
static, right? You're not
It's more,
changing that all the time.
Well, you can't, because you can't change your message, right? You have to get your value proposition right, your mission statement. Again, I'm going to cover it again. If you do not have a mission statement, and I'll have to dig it out, but there is definite research in the last year, 3 times the engagement if you have a mission statement. Okay.
Do you need to call it? Me and you talked about this already, but you have to call it mission statement. Could you call it core values, or do you do all of them?
I would look at all of it and see what speaks to you. Okay. Because I don't really want to turn down the volume on any one thing. Okay. And you have to, as creatives, the minute you're put in a box, that stifles creativity. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I would say look at, your value proposition is a must, but how you phrase, your mission statement, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. I would just, I like mission statement because it's a common search term.
Mm-hmm. And it's also about audience, right? So your audience might use the term mission statement. You need to know what your audience is connecting with.
The language. Yep. The language and verbiage that they're using.
Okay. So we're going to jump ahead because I saw Dave he asked this question, and this is one of them.
Dave's awesome. How you doing,
I know
Dave?
Dave's awesome. All right. So mission statement, he says, you mean the content on your about page? Can you tell us, this is one of your pet peeves, is the about page. And this is maybe something that we're all doing a little bit wrong. Can you tell us, because I want to get at the end here because we're almost out of time. But maybe we can go a little over. But you said some tips like, hey, you should, and if you guys haven't watched the video, you can watch it at rechargingyou.com/316. The video he made for me where he tears apart my site, which thankfully, and it's tips that you guys can use. Nobody should be using sliders anymore, right? We're not going to go through all that stuff, but there's some things that he tells on that. And so Amber watched it. She's like, he covered that in the video. And then Andre's like, I didn't get to watch that yet. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. So if you're talking about page, tell us some of the pet peeves or things that we should include on our about page.
Well, the about page, I'd separate from the mission statement to answer Dave's question. 2 different concepts, I think. The about page, the way a lot of people write them is, it's the team, and I'd rather see a team page for that. And, it can be about, like, a lot of people do their pedigree and their experience on the about page. I don't want to see any of that stuff on an about page. I want it to be about me, because I'm coming to your site. I want to know how you're going to, what have you done for people? What do you do for people? Maybe how you do it. Okay. So it's a thing where the keyword that you're looking for is you. Or if that word is not in your about page, you're doing that wrong too. That's my opinion. But speak to the people that come to your site. Okay. It's a thing where, I don't care about your pedigree on the front end. Maybe later on I'll look at that. But I'm a Dave Ramsey fan, so his thing is, I don't, you can have a Harvard degree, and then this guy could be from a community college. If the guy from the community college goes out, kills something, and brings it back to the cave, he's my champion. He's my guy. The guy from Harvard, I don't care about. If he can't get that done, I don't care about it.
Right.
So yeah, I want to know what you're going to do for me and how you're going to do it, and so your about page should be about maybe. And it depends. You have to sort it out, but it might be more about relationship on how we work together, or what I've done for other people, and then link out to maybe some supportive case studies. Okay, right? Bolster that, and there's a flow to a website. if you don't have a flow, a beginning and an end, a beginning, middle, and an end to a website, start figuring that out, because that goes to your funnel. Okay.
One other thing you told me, I don't know, a long time ago. I think you told me this. If you didn't tell me this, I don't know. Okay. It was, you said, okay, if you're using testimonials, you should not just link to their website. You should link to social, because it gives social proof. And
social mentions are big. And that's really a schema that we took from landing pages, from dedicated landing pages. Don't have a testimonial page. Lace testimonials throughout your site. Do not make it a destination page, because no one will go there, because they know it's tilted in your favor. So instead, don't give them the option. Just put little blurbs in with people's picture and a link to their social profile. Now tell them that you're doing that, right? Because that might be because people will reach out. It's social. So people will reach out to them and say, hey, is he really cool or is he a jerk? That kind of thing.
Okay. So this is a quick one, hopefully. Fred asked, well, going back to the video on the homepage, well, what about a small animation and a logo on a homepage or landing page? Does that do anything for SEO?
No.
Okay. Next question. All right. Amber asks, and she watched the video. So kudos to Amber. Are there any essential steps you would go through to make a site faster?
Similar to what we were talking about the other night when you were doing the minimization. There's tools that will minimize graphics, and you will get it's not like the old timey days with the JPEGs and you get the moire pattern.
Mm-hmm.
It's no more like that. Optimization tools. Yeah. There's a lot of different tools that you can use.
You said, you told me short pixel. There's also JPEG mini.
Yeah.
These will be in the,
but just, don't shrink the content in HTML to fit the space. Shrink the content to fit the space. Okay. So what I'm saying is, don't write HTML that shrinks it and puts it in a container at full size, because, think about people on mobile and what that looks like. So in mobile view, you have to take the video out, right? And you have to do a content strategy based on mobile. People don't realize that, but this is where analytics comes in again. You want to see what's performing well in mobile. Also understand that that's the way your site's indexed now by Google, and it has been for almost a year. So if you have a really crappy mobile experience, you're going to take a hit. Okay? You're going to take a hit.
Okay. Wait, there was one other question, I think.
SEO, and answer one question. SEO does not make your site faster. Somebody asked that, and I don't know who it was.
Yeah. So we're just talking about rankings and getting people to you, having people find you. But if your site is really slow, it can rank lower, right?
Yeah, that's a big impact. That's one of the top 5 impacts of why Google will, crush you. Page speed. Don't use the Google page speed tool. Use GT metrics tool and follow their directions. They will give you specific directions on improving the speed, whether you're on WordPress or what. But I'm not a huge fan of the Google page speed tool.
Is that how you spell that website? GT metrics?
It is.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to read you guys are doing awesome on the chat today. Okay, so analytics, I get so overwhelmed. Is it really integral to understanding analytics to using SEO?
Yeah, because you're doing data driven, right?
That's right.
You're doing data driven. So, if you're not, look at it this way, if you're not looking at the engagement, how if you should change something or not?
Right.
Also, on the blog side, okay, bounce rate doesn't mean anything on a blog, because if they're up to date, they're coming and reading the latest iteration. of the blog, the latest blog post, and leaving. So that's a bounce. That's defined as a bounce when somebody visits one page on your website and then leaves. And also, while I'm at it, please put your blog on your website. Don't blog on Blogger or something like that. Fold it into your website, because otherwise any authority you build on your blog is lost. Okay? So do that, bring it in, whatever that looks like. Bring it inside your website and blog on your website, please. Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to that really quick. Why is writing a blog so important to growing your organic SEO reach? And what kind of things do you tell clients so they can start wrapping their heads around what they should write about? So if you're doing websites, or your company's doing that for somebody else, or you're trying to help them with their marketing. Okay, I don't know. Break it into two questions.
The blog is important because that's where you're getting your links. Okay. You might get some links back to the website, but that's going to be probably a little bit harder work than to your content, which is, like I said, that's why you put it on your website, because it links back to your website and people might explore. Okay. If not just the blog, they might go to the website and start looking at your services pages and stuff. Okay.
And that could be internal links as well. So you could have like a blog and
that's what I mean.
Read the, great.
That's what I mean. You link them out. Say one blog post talks about one of the subject matter is one of the services you just so happen to offer. You internal link to that, right? Okay.
Right. Okay. So what would you tell people, because you can't write the content for somebody, so they know
I have written it.
Well, you can. I can't. I am not going to write content for people. So I can help them come up with ideas, and sometimes you can help them come up with ideas by doing that keyword thing that you were saying, and just that's
what I would use Uber Suggest for. Put in your ideas in Uber Suggest, and when you go down through the sidebar, I don't have the tool queued up, but you go down the sidebar and you can search people. And this is a good strategy. You search people that are doing this similar post to what you do. You go read the post. You find the post in the results in Uber Suggest. Go read the post and then do your own post and make sure it's better than theirs. You just knock it out of the park. Graphics, infographics, video, whatever that looks like. Other people, especially, kill them. Just drive it into the ground and beat them at their own game. Okay. All
right. So then, what is?
No, Dave's asking about duplicate content, and it's not duplicate content.
So, but
I would break it up. I would break it up into two pieces if possible. But even off of those sites like Medium and Quora and stuff like that, it's the intelligence is there that even if you do duplicate content, they're not necessarily going to ding you for that. Okay, that's not a guaranteed thing.
Right. Okay. So we'll try to go these really fast, or as fast as we can. What about video? I know video is a powerful medium, so I do video. Is it as powerful as written content?
Much more.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, much more. I mean, 3-4 years ago, Google bought like 3 video companies just to understand video better, and they already owned YouTube. So, it's just, video is much more engaging, and people, like it or not, people are inherently lazy. So if I can sit back and, drink a drink and not have to read and squint and put my eyeglasses on or whatever that looks like, if I can have something spoon fed to me, let's do that. So, there's average numbers of engagement, minutes of engagement for different videos. But, once you sort that out, but if people are engaging, if the industry that you're in says a 20-minute video is good, but you're seeing engagement into 40 minutes, who cares what the industry standard is. You have to
Right.
sort that out.
So what about, is that something I should pay for a transcription service to do? Or do you just pay somebody to watch and listen and then do like, at this time you talked about this subject and this time this subject?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
So with video, do I need to transcribe it so that the text is there so that Google could search it better?
If it's in the, if it's an overlay, I really don't have any numbers on that.
What if it's not an overlay? I'm asking specifically
if it's in the video,
for me.
in the video, there's no benefit.
So it's outside of the video.
Mm-hmm.
It would be underneath, kind of like
in the description of the video. Yeah, I would use.
I guess it could be in the description of the video.
Yeah,
too.
I would use it in the description of the video. Just call it out as transcript.
Mm-hmm.
And because YouTube number two search engine. So, and for video, you can use that same scheme I was describing before, where you type in, design empathy, the letter A, design empathy, the letter B. Okay. Same schema, because it's still real-time data.
Right.
It's the last thing somebody searched for after that term.
Okay. So Hannah asks, is it important to have really high quality video?
I think you have to have decent video, but it's what you said. Audio is more important, right? If you can't understand me, we're done.
You will watch a video with poor video quality and you can still piece it together. But if you can't hear it, it's really difficult for you to understand what's going on. You're
done. You're done. And that's the benefit of maybe having a transcription. Somebody could dive into the transcription, but then again, you're reading again, which is what you're trying to get away from possibly in the first place.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. So Hannah loves you also. She said, Brian, you need a YouTube channel. This has been so helpful. So as long as the audio and the content is good. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with Dave on that. Yeah. 51% video experience.
Okay. And Dave knows.
Dave knows video.
Absolutely. He knows that. Okay. Doc says, I stopped a Skillshare class last night because I had trouble understanding the speaker. The video was clean and crisp. Amen. Okay. Okay. We have already covered that one. We've done good, Brian. Okay. We're going to skip sales funnel. We'll have to do a part 2. There were quite a few of the things on my website that I was not including on my site because, there will be things. There were things that I didn't include on the Recharging You site that I will be changing on my other one. What I learned from. So things like drop-down menus were also one of the things, like this low-hanging fruit. Why does that not work? Because a lot of people use drop-down menus.
It's a thing where it's just not the best menu schema, right? It's not back in the day when it was more, everybody drink. It was more a function of JavaScript than it was CSS. But now we have CSS, so it's as a functional thing, it's not so bad. But I want to keep things simple, and just the engagement on drop downs. Now you've introduced friction, right? You've introduced a friction where it goes into, you start drifting into Hick's law again, where too many choices paralyze people, right? So that's what we want to get away from that, right? It's like the services thing and stuff. You don't sell services. You don't sell products. Describe what you're doing.
Yeah, you told me that. Like, I need to just have a button that says websites. So it's also, it's about
it goes
niching.
To brand, right? It goes to brand.
It does.
It goes to brand, because I want to call it my brand, and say, Dave Co videos, or, Amber socks. I sell socks, I sell hats, whatever that is. It's service oriented with this crew, but it's break it out. Break it out. Don't hide it. Don't hide it behind Amber loves socks. So it's, don't hide it, because that's friction. You
So
know,
it would be better to have less things, and then have another menu somewhere else where people could go deeper into some of those
sure.
other.
Or use the old timey breadcrumb schema. Remember the text
Yeah.
breadcrumbs where you did so do that so I can get back to my root page. If I'm 3 deep and I want to go to the center page that I was on before, make it easy for me to get back there. That's,
User
that's
experience, right?
yeah, that user experience in the UI,
Right.
and, uh, if anybody ever sends me an email with UX/UI on it, I'm deleting the email because they're two different things.
Yes, absolutely. User interface
I
and then
hate that.
user.
I hate that. That's a pet peeve of mine, and
Yeah,
I
they're
will
two
delete
different
your
things.
email.
Right. Um, I have a user experience with my chair or my microwave, right? That's
Everybody's a user experience expert, right?
yes,
We've
absolutely.
all had the handheld stuff for years now. iPhone came out in 2007, so we all know what good UX looks like. You know,
I just realized I didn't finish typing one of my questions. I just said,
D. Answer D real quick.
oh yeah,
I, I I didn't separate them. Call them out as maybe even go, out of, in context, say user interface, user experience instead of, using the abbreviations, even though you can use the abbreviations in the actual page content
but
because
like
people are searching for that.
for D, like some of your packaging, if you're helping them pick what the bottle looks like, or you know what I mean, then that's user experience. You're helping with the user experience, not just designing the packaging. Or you want them to be able to read something on the packaging. That's a user experience as well, because they
Right.
need to be able to read if it has peanuts in it or something.
The biggest thing is, pay attention to your tagging, your title tag. You could put UX UI, that crappy schema of with the slash in your title, or put it in the actual H1. Okay.
H1, just so my mom knows, that's a heading tag,
Yeah, that's
right?
the main heading tag. And make your content scannable with H2s and stuff. I wouldn't go any further than H3s. But yeah, it's you want it to be relevant to the people that are searching for you. But yeah, it's I put it in the H1, if not the title, but put your branding in the title of the page as well, right? Because you want to reinforce that.
And that's like in that slug.
No,
No.
that's your title. You want your title. Slug. Don't worry about
What
slugs
about
right now.
home? Do you say home? Is
No,
that in my title of that
no.
page? What do you call the home page? Nothing? Leave it blank?
You call it the name of your business.
Oh, huh, that's great. Great tip. That's an easy one. I know. I love that. That's great. Okay. So you gave in the video that you did for me, you gave a lot of tools that people could use. And maybe these are less overwhelming, but so they can do you want to give them any other tools that they could go through really quickly? And I'll have them underneath.
I think that it's like I've said countless times in the last couple of months I've been on different things. Just some of the simplest tools like Excel with Screaming Frog. There's some other, SEM Rush, you can get some stuff, but that's a freemium thing where you can only use it for so many hours a day or a week, and then it stops working and you have to go back later. But Screaming Frog is probably one of the best free tools. And that's freemium as well, but the free tool will analyze 500 URLs, and most people that are here, no offense, but you're not enterprise people. You have, relatively small sites. So it's a good tool because you're not going to have 500 URLs unless you've got, some sort of e-commerce thing happening. Maybe.
Okay. So if people are as overwhelmed as me, right? Oh, it was called Screaming Frog.
Screaming Frog, Dave.
Okay.
Like torturing a frog.
But not with Dave on the end. Just
No.
Screaming Frog.
No.
Okay, so if they're overwhelmed, one of the things that I asked you to do for a client for me is just give them a bid, right? Like, because so that thing that you did for me costs money when you do a site audit for people, right? So that's a price. And then they could hire you. And one of the things that I was looking for, you were like, and I was really shocked at this, but this was good to know. And I love that because I know you're going to tell me the truth. If I'm looking for an SEO consultant or an agency to help a client with SEO, which is what you do, if anybody wants to hire Brian, he's available. But what are some tips that you would tell someone to look out for? You told me one about.
Well, price, depending on where you are, you're going to spend, no less than $650 to $750 a month. Okay. So, depending on where you're at, that already is daunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And an incentive to do it yourself. That's the first day of DIY SEO for a lot of people. Holy crap. That's expensive. I can barely feed myself. And now it's $650 for SEO. The biggest thing is, if anybody is guaranteeing results, holy crap, run from that person. Because if they're guaranteeing results, if they're hiding, if they're not going to give you monthly reports on what things look like keyword reports, and if they aren't building a dashboard for you from Google Data Studio that's pulling information from Google Analytics to make it look good, because Google Data Studio speaks to you guys, the creatives of the world. I can put it in a donut graph. I can put it in a pie graph, whatever you need, I can put that in. And through the time that we're doing this, we can add and take away stuff that maybe there's some stuff you thought you needed to see. Now you don't. And this is the basis of, please test, if possible, test everything. We push that on the CRO side of
CRO?
Conversion rate optimization. When you do a landing page, we push that all the time, A/B testing. Okay. And there's a lot of different schemas to do that with, but you can do that manually too. It's a
and when you're talking about a conversion, that means you're converting them to somebody who's buying, right?
Well, technically it's a looser term where they don't have to buy, they just have to engage. Like if you get the email address, like the first part of your ladder or the first part of your funnel is free content, and you're trading the free content, or second part is, you've engaged them and you're pulling them into your funnel. You're trading their email address for the content that you're giving. Okay. So it's free as long as you give me your email address. And then that's where you pull in your email drip campaigns. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that a conversion is that they achieve the goal that you want them to achieve. Okay. And that's the same on a website. On the website side, when they click the button to email you, it's a little bit more work, but every thank you page oriented to that page that they came from, and then you can track that as a goal. And what that tells you is what content is engaging people more to contact you. So every thank you page comes off another page, right? So it could be about us -thank you, and you customize that thank you message, and you do that for every page, and you let somebody contact you off every page. Okay. Off every page, and that
in a new form. So then you're able to track it. Right. Okay.
Right. You can set a goal up very easily, a destination goal in analytics. And that tells you, okay, these 3 pages, we're getting a lot of conversions, and these 2 pages we're not. So you go back to those 3 pages and try to match the inflection of that content and the message of that content. And you bring it down into those 2 other pages. That's data-driven SEO, right?
And so if somebody's trying to, it is overwhelming to me. And so that's why we hire people like you to do this. And this is where you can offer, if it was me, I can offer this as a service, and then I just connect with you, or I just send you straight to my client who's wanting to do this.
I'd rather build the relationship, to be honest.
Right.
I'd rather build a relationship with you in the mix. Not that you have to be ever present and on every email, right? but I'd rather build that relationship and kind of like keep you in the loop about what's going on with that client, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless somebody says, I don't want to hear it.
Because really that would help me create content for them if they
right.
are trying to, if I'm the designer, if I'm not maybe staying in the loop, then right. So, okay. So it's just keeping the conversation going. Okay. That's really important.
Yeah. To me, it is. I just, I want to talk to everybody.
I know.
And you can tell I hate talking.
So you need to take a sip. I'll say it. Back in the day, because I know you're thirsty there, Brian. Your lips are getting. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here at the end, and with a couple things, and I think we'll just dig into a sales page and a sales funnel. We'll do it maybe on another call because I actually feel like that's a bigger.
Well, I do a lot of different funnels. I do sales. There's a sales funnel. There's a marketing funnel. There's the HubSpot flywheel. There's Russell Branson's stairs that Rachel did with you.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar in certain ways. I'd say the most odd one is probably the HubSpot flywheel model. So, yeah.
But we can talk about that in another, because I think that would also help people. This is hopefully giving you guys some ideas that maybe you don't know everything your clients are searching for. Maybe you need to write content that they're more searching for if you're not going to physically go ask them.
Right.
And a good way to do that is through that Google.
And some things you can use as a concept in other things too. I mean, I use tools that will show me rankings for pay-per-click keywords and stuff and use that in SEO.
Okay. So the first time you said that to me, I was like, what is this paper? What is this pay-per-click? Is this, so I typed in P-A-P-E-R. I was like, oh, he always knows all these things. So P-A-P-E-R and then C-L-I-C-K. That was not what he's saying. So we're going to say it slow for people who are like me.
It's PPC. Yeah.
Click. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
No.
I speak too fast.
No, I think it was funny. Okay. So, my husband just asked me, did you feed the dog? And I had to answer no. So we're going to end it with these two questions. So what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh boy. I would have probably skipped the architecture part of my life and just gone full on design or a combination. What ended up happening was it was a side by side thing where I was freelancing for the 21 years that I was in IT infrastructure, and one fed the other, like left brain, right brain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a good thing for me. But then after 21 years, I just was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do now. Right. It's the difference. I was good at IT work, but it wasn't my first love, but it paid really, really well.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was just one of the qualifiers.
So one of the things I love, so Doc's also a preacher's kid.
Jason, I like that.
Yeah. Doc is a preacher's kid. You were a preacher's kid, and you think this is one of the things that you had to talk to people always, even as a little kid. You had to have
right, Doc, right?
I don't know if you're still in here, but
it's he is. You're having adult conversations from the time you're like 6 years old. So I was telling Diana, it was like having a superpower when I got to college, because I could talk to anybody. And my roommates and my college mates could only talk to each other. And they're like, how do you do that? How do you talk to anybody? And it's just a thing. You sacrifice a small part of your childhood to become an adult in an exponential manner. And it just became a thing.
It's been a real blessing in a way, right? Because you've been able to now.
I was terribly bitter. That I missed all the cool crap from my sorry, Mom, from my childhood, and that's not completely true. But after the fact, it was great. It was, I mean, somebody needed, beer. I was the guy that went in and talked to the old man behind the counter.
And you're like, back in the day. No, I'm just kidding.
Back in the day, yo.
So Doc says he's been told by friends that they don't understand how I can talk to anyone. So I also think one of the things was that you also had a great role model. Your dad was such a great role model of just
my
helping
dad and
people,
my grandfather.
right?
My
But
grandfather
he
was amazing.
really hard. Like he was a hard man maybe to live with, but you always saw him giving.
Very objective with other people. With my brother and I, not so much.
Oh, that's funny.
It is true though. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's probably true with most parents. I think other people are like, "Oh man, your dad's so cool." Not to me, maybe.
Yeah.
Not exactly. You, Mom, though, right? Love you. My mom's here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then what's next?
What's next is finding people. I've changed my ideas a little bit in the last couple of months, but I want to help people. I think I've always had that soft spot for creatives, whatever that is, right? Whatever that looks like. So if you have if you have questions and stuff, I will field questions within a certain, hopefully within a reasonable amount of time. But it's, I guess the brutal truth is that if I help you, you reach out to me, I help you, and we do our homework, and you have some homework to do, you need to come back to me and get back with me, because I'm not going to chase you down. That's over for me. Okay. So, and if you waste my time once and it's, an ever long period of time, I probably won't re-engage.
But if they're paying for your time, they can waste your time all
no, there's no
right?
wasting time there. We're spending time there. We're spending money and we're spending time.
They can come back to you and not do their homework all you want, right? You can encourage.
And in that's a totally different schema. In that schema, I will chase you down. Okay. I'll show up with a small club or a baseball bat and, smack you in the head, and we'll have to, we have to have that conversation because, otherwise, project management wise, that could go sideways. So, but that's the qualifier, but so if anybody wants to reach out, that's fine. But, frame it for me a little bit.
Andre says, I will hunt you down and I will find you. I will. Oops. All right. So I want people to be able to get in contact with you. Do you want me to just put it in the chat underneath, or is it okay if I say it out loud?
It's already in the chat.
I know, but is it okay if I hope it's okay. I put it in the chat.
Well,
is it okay if I say it out loud?
That's why I gave it to you.
Okay. You guys can contact him as Brian, just the regular way to spell Brian, Brian, at Keystone. I don't know how else you would spell that, but KeystoneInteractive.net. And
the correct way.
Well, Doc's first name is Brian also.
Yeah,
so that's
okay.
Funny, but he goes by Doc. So anyway, so Brian at KeystoneInteractive.net is the way to get in touch with Brian. And you can get him to do a site audit. He has a price for that. But it sure is helpful. That's why I put my site audit on there, so you guys could see how I was making mistakes, so that you guys can learn from me.
And there's good information in that video too.
Tons.
It's the export from Screaming Frog to Excel is a little tricky, but go at it with no fear, or reach out and we can talk about how to do that.
Brian, thank you so much for giving me your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I love working with working on stuff like this, and and that's the big thing is don't be scared to reach out. Okay. It's not, please don't, money is a thing, but if you don't have, finances and stuff, we can talk about different stuff, and, depending on the timing. but
he wants you to do your homework.
I do
Right?
want you to do,
Yeah.
oh my God, please set up one last thing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're over time, but one last thing. Set up your accounts. Google Analytics, Google Search Console, go into Google Ads. You're going to have to supply a credit card, but just don't publish the campaign just to get to the word keyword planner. And Google My Business. Please get on Google My Business.
All right. Maybe
Okay.
I didn't get, so Google Analytics, I think I did. So
Mhm.
now I have it. Google Analytics, Google Search Console,
Mhm.
Google Ads, and Google My Business.
Yes.
All right. Maybe we'll have another show where we dig into
They're
some
all
of those
free.
things.
Even though you're putting a credit card on Google Ads, it's free to use the keyword tool. All those are free. Okay. Yeah. So that's the baseline of where that's where you need to be.
So thank you so much. So next week we have Catherine Ahrensberg, and Catherine is a friend of mine. She's a landscape designer, landscape architect. And you're like, what the heck are we doing with a landscape designer? But she does video content, and I will send it to you. It'll be in your Tuesday thing. It's like a 10-minute. She has a whole series. You can watch them on Amazon Prime and you can watch them on YouTube. Not going to leave that in probably. So Catherine has videos, and she really believes in video content. And you can, I think it's Simple Honest Design on YouTube. And if you search for it, and it's really nice production. Like she helps people with their houses and their yards or their whatever, furniture, things like that. So check it out before you come, so you'll know what she's doing. She's also really does Instagram stories a ton, and she really believes in video content. And so there is power in that. I'm just thankful, Brian, that you were here, and thank you for giving us so much of your content and your knowledge and your time today.
You're welcome. My
All
pleasure.
right, we'll see you guys next week. All right, that was a great episode, but I wanted to tell everybody else about ways that they can support the podcast. And how that supports them is that these are affiliate links, so I get a tiny piece of the pie when you click on these links. My favorite way to build websites is with the Elementor plugin. It works with almost any WordPress theme, making almost any theme invincible. This plugin has changed the way I've been able to design websites, and it's the Elementor plugin. Where other plugins, builders, like visual builders, have fallen short, Elementor uses common sense, and it was so easy to understand and implement. I love the Elementor plugin. It has been a total game changer. Use this affiliate link to purchase the plan that's right for you. bit.ly, bit.ly, capital D, capital R, Elementor. Hey, forgot to tell you about Audible. I mean, I told you about Audible, but I didn't tell you how to get to Audible. audibletrial.com/design recharge. Audible trial, you could get a free, you try it free for 30 days and you get one free book. And I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all. Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Design Recharge. Did you know that you can join us live each week? If you, you can join us live each week by signing up at the website. Hey, y'all. Did you know that you can join us live each week live and ask your own questions? You can always send me questions too if you want. If you sign up to be on the Design Recharge family newsletter group thing, I don't know. It's just sign up for my newsletter at rechargingyou.com/nothing. No. Boogers. It looks like my thing is like popping out. Look. You see this?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Anyway, it feels like it's like popping out. Anyway,